What if no one could ever shake you again? Not with harsh words, not with cold silence, not with betrayal, not with disappointment. Imagine moving through life with a steady center, where nothing anyone says and nothing anyone does can reach inside you and pull you off balance. Most people don't live this way. They walk through life with their nerves exposed, reacting to everything. A careless comment, a delayed message, a broken promise, and suddenly their mood collapses. They're angry, they're bitter, they're exhausted, not because life is cruel, but because they've never learned how to protect their inner world. They were taught how to work, how to compete, how to survive, but no one taught them how to master themselves. The ancient Stoics did. They understood something we've forgotten. That true power doesn't belong to the loudest man or the most aggressive one. It belongs to the man who stays calm under pressure, who remains steady when everything around him is trying to pull him apart. Mental strength isn't force, it's control. And control begins with one unshakable truth. You don't have to react. You don't have to respond to every provocation. You don't have to let other people's moods, words, or behavior decide how you feel. In this video, you're going to learn how to build that control, not as theory, not as motivation, but as a discipline. You'll learn how to stop letting people push your buttons, how to protect your peace like a guarded fortress, how to move through the world without carrying its chaos inside you. You'll see why lowering your expectations isn't weakness, but wisdom. Why silence isn't surrender, but strategy. Why your emotions aren't your enemy, but your reactions to them often are. If you've ever felt like people take your calm for granted, or life keeps knocking you off balance, you're not broken. You're untrained, and training begins now. This isn't hype. This isn't empty motivation. This is transformation. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear can permanently change how you deal with conflict, pressure, and disappointment. If this resonates with you, join us here. Subscribe to Stoic Ocean and stay connected to ideas that help you master your mind. Share this with someone who needs steadiness, not noise. Because real strength isn't loud, it's steady. And from this moment forward, nothing and no one gets free access to your peace again. Make self-control your shield. There's a moment, small and easy to miss, when a man gives away his power. Someone interrupts him, mocks him, dismisses him, and inside something tightens. His chest constricts, his jaw clenches, his voice sharpens. He speaks louder than necessary, explains more than required, defends what didn't need defending. And just like that, the calm is gone. Not because the other person was stronger, but because he reacted. Reaction feels powerful. It feels like action, but it isn't. It's surrender. Power doesn't live in the response. It lives in the restraint. Self-control isn't the absence of emotion. It's the refusal to be ruled by it. You don't need to be numb. You need to be precise. Anger arrives fast, hot, demanding. It feels urgent. It feels necessary. But urgency is not wisdom. When someone insults you and you explode, they don't win because they're right. They win because they reached you. They dictated your emotional state. And without realizing it, you handed them the pen to write your script. A man who reacts easily has no walls. His emotional space is public property. Anyone can walk in, press a button, and own him for a moment. Now picture another man. Same insult, same situation, but nothing shifts. His breathing stays steady. His posture doesn't change. His gaze remains calm. He isn't suppressing emotion. He's mastered it because he trained for this moment, because he understands something simple. Emotional control isn't about appearing tough. It's about not giving strangers the keys to your inner world. This is Stoic power, not ego. Ownership. Ownership of your time, your energy, your emotional space. You've seen this play out before. You're driving. Someone cuts you off. Your pulse spikes. Words rise to your lips, and then they're gone. But you're not. You're tense, distracted, off balance. That's the cost of reaction. You pay it long after the moment ends. The Stoic sees this cost clearly, so he pauses. He lets the emotion rise, but he doesn't follow it. He breathes. He remembers that the world doesn't owe him order or fairness. His control lives inside him. Most people live in constant defense mode, ready to prove, ready to retaliate, ready to react. But that posture weakens you. It places your identity in other people's hands. If they offend you, you move. If they praise you, you rise. You're no longer grounded, you're reactive. And a reactive man is a servant to the world's mood swings. So how do you build the shield? You begin with stillness. When you're triggered, don't speak, don't move. Let the wave rise without riding it. Observe it, name it, but don't obey it. That pause is your power. It breaks the pattern. Over time, you become composed by default. You stop answering noise with noise. You stop chasing justice in small conflicts. You guard your energy like it matters. Because it does. This isn't passivity. A Stoic doesn't ignore injustice. He knows when to act and when to let go. He knows when words carry weight and when silence carries more force. He chooses his battles. And when he engages, he does so with clarity, not heat. You don't need to prove strength. You need to own it. The loudest man in a room often has the least control. The calm one, the steady one, the one who doesn't flinch. That's the presence people feel. That's the presence people respect. From now on, let your first instinct be stillness. Let calm become your habit. Let composure be your reputation. When you do that, you become untouchable. Not because life stops testing you, but because it can no longer reach what it once controlled. The power of the pause. Train your emotional control. Emotional control isn't something you're born with. It's something you train, like strength, like endurance. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you strengthen that muscle. Every time you choose stillness over chaos, you widen your freedom. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. That space is where your power lives. Most people don't see it. They believe anger demands action, fear demands retreat, shame demands silence. The Stoic knows better. There is always a gap, a moment where choice exists. Your task is to widen that gap. Start small. The next time someone triggers you, count to 3. Just 3 seconds. In that silence, feel everything, but act on nothing. Ask yourself one question. Do I want to give this control over me? Then decide. That pause is where character is formed. That stillness is what separates the disciplined from the reactive. Train it in ordinary moments. At the store when someone cuts in line. In traffic when impatience rises. In conversations when your ego wants to defend. Refuse to respond just to release tension. Let your silence do the work. Let your calm unsettle the chaos. The man who needs to shout has already lost ground. The man who doesn't blink changes the temperature of the room. Protect your energy like it's rare, because it is. When you stop reacting to every provocation, something powerful returns. Clarity, peace, self-respect. Start today. Find one moment where you would normally snap. And don't. Breathe. Observe, move on. That's how a Stoic wins. Quietly, completely, without playing their game. This isn't suppression, it's training. You feel everything. You just don't let it own you. Weakness is being dragged by emotion. Strength is feeling it fully and choosing wisely. Train your control daily, and you'll become the calm in the storm, the steady in the chaos, the unshakable in a world that constantly tries to shake you. Lower your expectations of others. Opening, Tiep tug o fan sao. You keep getting disappointed because you keep expecting too much. That's the trap. It starts quietly, with the belief that someone should know better, should understand you, should do more, should behave differently. But when they don't, your peace disappears. Not because they failed you, but because you expected them to be someone they never promised to be. Expectation is a silent contract you wrote alone. Expectation is a silent contract you wrote alone. You believe someone would act differently, care more, try harder, see you clearly. But they never signed that agreement. So when reality arrives, it feels like betrayal, not because they changed, but because they didn't match the version you created in your mind. That gap between expectation and reality is where frustration is born. That's where resentment grows. You replay conversations. You imagine what they should have said, what they should have done, and every replay pulls you further from peace. The Stoics saw this clearly. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would meet people who were selfish, ungrateful, arrogant, and careless. Not to become bitter, but to stay grounded. Preparation isn't pessimism, it's protection. When you expect perfection from imperfect people, you hand them power over your emotional state. But when you accept human nature as it is, you stop being shocked. You stop being wounded by predictability. People will disappoint you. They will misunderstand you. They will fall short, not because they're evil, but because they're human. Once you accept that, something shifts. You stop demanding that others manage your peace. You stop tying your emotional stability to their behavior. You stop asking broken people to act like whole ones, and that's freedom. Imagine walking into situations expecting nothing. Not disrespect, not kindness, just reality. You observe, you respond if needed, but you don't react. You don't internalize. A rude cashier doesn't ruin your day. A distracted friend doesn't shake your worth. A careless comment doesn't define you, because your peace is no longer dependent on how others behave. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. Lowering expectations doesn't mean lowering standards. It means placing standards where they belong. On yourself. You control your character, your actions, your responses. Everything else is outside your command. Here's a simple exercise. Think of one person who keeps disappointing you, a colleague, a friend, a family member. Ask yourself honestly, am I upset because of what they did or because of what I expected them to do? Sit with that question, because most of the time, the pain doesn't come from their behavior. It comes from the story you attach to it. Once you see that, you can release it. Not with anger, with understanding. You stop fighting reality. You stop exhausting yourself trying to change people who aren't asking to change. You conserve your energy, and that energy returns as calm, as clarity, as emotional distance. Not distance from people, distance from disturbance. This is where Stoic strength deepens. When you no longer expect others to deliver your peace, you become harder to unsettle, harder to provoke, harder to control. You move through the world without needing validation, without needing approval, without needing others to behave a certain way for you to be okay. And that's when you truly become free. Because now, even when people disappoint you, they don't disturb you. And when they no longer disturb you, they no longer rule you. Once you release expectations, you gain something rare. Neutral ground. You stop meeting people with demands in your chest. You meet them as they are. Some will still disappoint you. Some will still fall short. But now it doesn't sting the same way. Because you no longer confuse their behavior with your worth. Their mood is not your responsibility. Their limitations are not your burden. You see them clearly, without anger, without illusion. And clarity is calmer than hope. Hope tied to people creates tension. Clarity creates peace. When you expect less, you observe more. You notice patterns. You notice intent. You notice who people truly are. Not who they pretend to be. Not who you wish they were. That awareness keeps you grounded. It keeps you from over-investing, from over-explaining, from overreacting. You stop chasing understanding from those who aren't capable of giving it. You stop offering energy where it isn't respected. This isn't bitterness, it's discernment. And discernment is one of the Stoics' greatest defenses. Because once expectations fall away, provocation loses its grip. Words don't hook you as easily. Silence doesn't disturb you as deeply. You begin to feel space between what happens and what you feel. That space is emotional distance, not coldness, not indifference to life, but indifference to manipulation, to drama, to unnecessary conflict. And that's where the next practice begins. Learning how to face provocation without absorbing it. How to let things touch the surface without entering your core. How to remain present, aware, and steady, even when others are not. When expectations fall away, so does the need to react. You stop bracing yourself against people. You stop carrying their unpredictability inside your chest. You remain open, but no longer exposed. Present, but not penetrable. This is the balance the Stoics aim for. Engage with life without being consumed by it. You still listen. You still care. But you don't absorb what doesn't belong to you, and once you reach this point, provocation loses its fuel. It knocks, but nothing answers. It speaks, but nothing inside rushes forward. That silence isn't weakness, it's readiness. Because now when pressure arrives, you're no longer reacting blindly. You're choosing deliberately. And that choice marks the shift from being affected by life to standing firmly within it. It's not the death of hope, it's the birth of understanding. Hope is beautiful, but hope without clarity becomes a trap. You don't need to stop loving people. You need to stop letting your hopes for them turn into a doorway they can walk through. Because when you expect someone to be different, you hand them a weapon without realizing it. They don't even have to intend harm. Your disappointment will do the damage all by itself. Begin with this today. I will see others as they are, not as I wish they would be. I will not beg the rain to be sunshine. I will build a shelter instead. That is Stoic freedom. Not freedom from people, but freedom from the burden of needing people to be something else. And if this principle hits you deeply, leave a mark here. Tap like and write one sentence in the comments below. What expectation are you ready to release? What hope has been quietly draining your peace? Not to impress anyone, but to make it real. Because when you name it, you loosen its grip. The truth is simple. Much of your suffering doesn't come from people. It comes from expecting people to be different than they are. Your boss may stay demanding, Some friends may stay unreliable. Strangers may stay rude. That's not pessimism. That's realism. And realism is calming, because once you accept reality, you stop fighting the sky for being the sky. You stop wasting energy on what cannot be changed. You stop rehearsing arguments in your head with someone who won't listen. Instead, you return to what is yours, your response, your attitude, your standards, your peace. And that shift alone can transform your life. Not overnight, but permanently, because it changes what you give power to. Practice indifference to provocation. Some people don't want peace. They want your reaction. They want proof that they can move you. They poke, they prod, they test the edges. Not always with insults, sometimes with sarcasm, sometimes with silence, sometimes by playing innocent while pushing your buttons. And if you explode, they feel powerful. Not because they're strong, but because they pulled you into their weather. The moment you react without choosing, you step into their frame. You let them decide the version of you that shows up. And that's the real loss. Not the comment, not the argument, but the fact that you let them reach your center. Indifference is not apathy. It's not pretending something doesn't hurt. It's not ignoring injustice. It's not swallowing everything. Indifference in the Stoic sense means this: you do not give energy to what doesn't deserve it. You choose where your mind rests. You decide who gets access. You protect your focus like it's sacred, because it is. Every time you let a careless person provoke you, you leave your throne to wrestle in the mud. You trade your clarity for their drama, and the exchange is never worth it. Think back: a stranger on the road, a colleague in a meeting, a family member who knows exactly what to say. You felt the heat rise, the words form, the chest tighten. That is the moment, the test. And most people fail there. They speak too soon. They move too fast. They try to win in the wrong arena. They give away the very thing they are trying to protect, their power. Now imagine a different outcome. Same provocation, same pressure, but this time you do something rare. You don't rush. You don't grab the first impulse and call it truth. You let the words land, but you don't let them enter. You observe the sensation inside you, like watching a spark. And then you choose, not worth it. And you walk away, not in retreat, in command, not to appear superior, but to remain free. That isn't weakness. That is discipline. That is self-respect with a steady pulse. Because the man who can stay calm holds his ground. And the man who holds his ground owns the moment. Epictetus taught a hard truth. If someone tries to hurt you and you refuse the injury, they fail. Because insult needs agreement. It needs you to sign it. They offer you poison in words and tone. But poison only works when you swallow it. When you meet their noise with stillness, you break the spell. You rise above their reach. Not because you fight harder, but because you stop feeding every small war. This doesn't mean becoming passive. You still take action when action is needed. You set boundaries. You speak clearly. You tell the truth. But you choose the battlefield. You do not get dragged into every petty conflict. You do not explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You do not argue with noise. You walk through it. That is Stoic strength. Not aggression, not performance, just quiet control. Now here's the practice. Not the same old script, a new tool. The next time someone tries to provoke you, use the one breath rule. One slow breath before any word. In that breath, label what it is. This is bait. This is ego. This is noise. Then ask one question. Will my reaction improve the situation or only feed it? If it only feeds it, let it die hungry. If action is required, respond with precision. Not heat, not ego, precision. Sometimes the best response is a boundary, a short sentence, a calm tone. Sometimes the best response is nothing at all. Silence can be a wall, not a wall of fear, a wall of control. Practice this in small moments. At the grocery store when impatience rises, in traffic when someone honks, in conversations when your pride wants to prove something. Refuse to respond just to release tension. Choose to stay clean. Let your calm do the speaking. Let your steadiness change the temperature of the room. The man who needs to shout has already lost something. The man who stays measured doesn't lose himself. Let them talk. Let them try. Let them test. You don't have to attend every invitation to chaos. Protect your energy like it's gold, because in the end, it is. When you stop reacting to every provocation, you gain something rare. Clarity, space, peace. You gain yourself back. Start today. Pick one moment where you would normally snap, and don't. Breathe. Label it. Move on. That is a Stoic win. Quietly. Completely. Without playing their game. And here's something people rarely understand. Indifference has gravity. When you stop reacting, people notice. Not everyone will change, but many will adjust. The ones who feed on your reaction often lose interest when there's nothing to eat, because your calm starves the drama. Your steadiness removes the reward. Your indifference becomes a shield. Not a shield of hostility, a shield of non-attachment, a shield that says you can't rent space in my mind without permission. That is real power, not force, freedom. So make it your mission to remain calm in the face of chaos, to stay steady when others lose control, to protect your peace as if it were the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. Treat each situation as a character test. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. That irritation, that delay, that rude comment, it's not random, it's a mirror. Life is showing you what lives inside you when pressure arrives. When things don't go your way, most people flinch. They complain. They ask, why me? But the Stoic asks a better question. What is this moment calling me to build? Right now, inside myself. Pain isn't always personal. Often it's instructional. Every frustration is a weight for your character to lift. Every setback is a forge for your discipline. But only if you stop reacting and start responding. Only if you stop seeing yourself as a victim of life and start seeing yourself as a builder. An architect of inner strength. The world doesn't get easier. You get better at facing it. When someone disrespects you at work, when a partner snaps without warning, when a plan collapses near the finish line, you're in the gym of life, and you have two options. You either let that moment shrink you or sharpen you. Most people get angry and blame someone. A Stoic breathes, observes, learns, then decides. I will not waste this, because ease doesn't shape character. Comfort doesn't forge steel. Stress does. Discomfort does. That difficult conversation, that betrayal, that delay, they're not blocks in your path. They are the path, but you only see it when you stop running and start using it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that fire turns what it consumes into flame. That isn't just poetry. That's training. The thing meant to break you becomes fuel if you let it. It's easy to be kind when people are kind. It's easy to be calm when life cooperates. But when someone yells, when your pride is bruised, when life hits unexpectedly, then truth appears. then your values are no longer theory. They're tested. That's when strength matters. Not in comfort, in pressure. And the man who can hold himself steady under pressure can walk through anything. Don't wait for the world to make it easier for you to grow. It won't. What you can do is change your lens. See difficulty not as disruption, but as invitation. An invitation to become stronger without needing perfect conditions. You don't need a perfect life. You need practice. And practice happens in uncomfortable moments. Even small ones. Especially small ones. The delayed email, the cold look, the traffic jam. That's where the work is done. Quietly, daily, intentionally. Here is how you apply it. The next time you feel frustration rising, catch it early. Don't run from it. Name it. Then ask, what is this shaping in me? Patience, discipline, humility, self-control? Then decide on purpose how you will respond. Will you raise your voice and lose yourself? Or will you stand still and build endurance? Will you argue to protect ego? Or will you refine your ability to remain composed? Strength isn't something you switch on. It's something you practice in moments like this, not by pretending you don't feel, but by refusing to let what you feel own you. You're allowed to struggle. You're not required to collapse. You're allowed to feel the burn of pressure. You're also capable of turning that burn into fuel. So the next time life pushes back, don't take it as an insult. Take it as your opportunity, a chance to train what no one else sees. Your character, your command, your quiet power. And remember this, every challenge is temporary. Every frustration passes, but every response leaves a mark. It either builds you or it breaks you. When you begin to see life as character tests, everything changes. You stop complaining about hardness. You start asking what you can learn. You stop being a victim. You become a student of life, a student of yourself, a student of what it means to be truly strong. That shift is everything. It transforms suffering into growth. It turns obstacles into training. Observe emotions without letting them rule you. A man doesn't fall because he feels. He falls because he obeys every feeling as if it were a command. Anger rises and he strikes. Fear whispers and he freezes. Shame appears and he hides. But what if you could watch all of it without becoming it? Like clouds drifting across the sky. The sky remains, the clouds pass. This is not denial. This is clarity. Emotions are signals. They arrive fast. They carry heat. But they are not orders. You are not your rage. You are not your anxiety. You are the one who notices them. And if you learn to notice without merging, you remain free. Freedom isn't found by suppressing feelings. It's found by refusing to be dragged by them. And this is trainable. The Stoics never taught that you should feel nothing. They taught something harder. Feel it fully, but do not follow it blindly. Picture a moment. You're in a room. Someone mocks you. A flash of heat, a tightening jaw, a fast heartbeat. All real. Now pause, not to perform calm, to regain the wheel. Breathe once, slowly, then name the emotion like a scientist, not like a victim. This is anger. This is embarrassment. This is hurt. I feel it. I acknowledge it. But I will not act on it without choosing. You have just broken the chain. Most people never do this. They believe if something is felt, it must be expressed. But expression is not always strength. Often, it's impulse in a costume. Stoic practice reverses the order. First awareness, then choice, then response. Between stimulus and action, there is space. And in that space, your life changes. Because your values can finally speak before your impulse does. When emotions take the microphone, wisdom becomes silent. When impulses lead, character becomes reactive. A Stoic flips that. He sees the fire, but chooses not to burn. He feels the sting, but doesn't strike back. Not because he is weak, because he is clear. Restraint is not weakness. Restraint is command. The quiet command of someone who has learned to wait, watch, and choose. You can practice this anywhere. At work when irritation builds. At home when disappointment settles. When tired. When provoked. Before you speak, check in. How do I feel? Then ask, what do I want to build with this? If the answer is nothing useful, let it pass. If the answer is growth, respond with intention, not with heat. Even 10 seconds of awareness changes the result. That's not theory, that's training. Emotional strength doesn't need applause. It lives in silence, in the space between the feeling and the choice. And each time you notice, that space grows. You may think you're losing something by not reacting, but you're gaining everything. Balance, vision, dignity. The world does not need more people who scream back. It needs people who can stay steady, who can feel deeply without becoming chaotic, who can carry power without needing noise. And when you learn to observe emotions instead of obeying them, you become that person. Calm, not as a mood, but as a discipline. This level of awareness changes how you move through the world. You stop being surprised by your own reactions. You notice them forming before they take control. And because you notice, you interrupt the cycle. Emotion still arrives, but it no longer drives. You feel anger without becoming angry. You feel fear without becoming fearful. You feel disappointment without collapsing into it. That separation is maturity, not coldness, not detachment from life. It is the ability to experience fully without being owned. This is where real peace begins to settle, not the fragile kind that breaks under pressure, but the grounded kind that remains when pressure arrives. You begin to trust yourself, not to always feel calm, but to always respond wisely. And that trust is powerful, because once you trust your own response, the world loses its leverage over you. People can be loud, situations can be unfair, life can be unpredictable, but you remain intact, centered, present. And when you live from that place, nothing needs to be forced. Not respect, not confidence, not authority. They arise naturally from someone who is no longer ruled from the inside. This is the quiet strength the Stoics trained for. Not to escape life, but to meet it without losing themselves. It needs more men who remain still, see clearly, and move only when it's time. So start now. The next time your emotions rise like a wave, don't fight them and don't follow them. Stand, breathe, observe, and walk forward by choice, not by impulse. Because the practice of observing emotions without being ruled by them is one of the strongest skills a person can develop. It's like learning to watch a storm from inside a shelter. You see the rain, you hear the thunder, you feel the wind, but you're protected. You're not out there getting soaked and dragged around. You're inside, steady, watching it pass. That's what mastery feels like. You feel everything. You acknowledge everything, but you don't let everything take the steering wheel. You remain the observer. And that control, that quiet command, is what creates real freedom. Not freedom from life, freedom within life. So here's the simplest drill. When a strong emotion rises, do 3 things in this order. Name it, place it, choose, name it. This is anger. This is fear. This is embarrassment. Place it. I feel it in my chest. I feel it in my jaw. I feel it in my stomach. Then choose. Do I respond now or do I wait until my mind is clear? Most of the time, waiting is wisdom because clarity arrives a few breaths later, and the person who can wait rarely regrets it. Be grateful even in discomfort. Gratitude is easy when the sun is shining and everything flows. But Stoic gratitude isn't built for easy days. It's built for the days that test you. When the morning starts with bad news, when someone you trusted lets you down, when traffic steals an hour of your life, when your plan collapses right before the finish line, what do most people do? They complain. They replay the scene. They search for blame. They feed bitterness one thought at a time. But the Stoic doesn't dig downward. He rises. Because he knows gratitude isn't reserved for comfort. Gratitude is a tool for clarity. To be grateful in pain is not to pretend it doesn't hurt. It's to recognize that inside discomfort, there is training, a chance to sharpen patience, a chance to test endurance, a chance to stretch humility. While others stare at what's missing, the Stoic looks for what's available. A lesson, a signal, a place to refine. Discomfort isn't an interruption to peace. It's where peace is proven real. And this matters because life doesn't stop testing. So if your peace only exists when everything is smooth, it's not peace, it's convenience. Stoic gratitude turns inconvenience into strength. Picture this. You're late. You're waiting in line. Your phone is buzzing. Your mind is rushing. Nothing is moving. Heat rises. That familiar urge to sigh, to snap, to blame the world for not cooperating. Now you have a choice. You can lose yourself to irritation, or you can train. One breath. You look around. You tell yourself quietly and honestly, this is uncomfortable, and it is training. Suddenly, it's not just a line. It's a practice field. You're not wasting time. You're building tolerance. That single reframe changes the whole experience, not because the line disappears, but because you stop being owned by it. Most men avoid discomfort. They chase convenience, but convenience creates softness, not strength. You grow when life pushes back, and you choose to lean in with awareness. And the moment you can ask, instead of complaining, what is this frustration revealing about me? Annoyance becomes insight, because now the moment is useful. And when something is useful, it doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like instruction. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials." That's not decoration, that's the law. Growth doesn't come from ease, it comes from resistance, but only if you meet resistance with the right mindset. Gratitude is that mindset, not gratitude for cruelty, not gratitude for injustice, but gratitude for the chance to respond better than before. This is the shift. You stop asking life to be easier. You start asking to be stronger. And every hard moment becomes a reply to that request. Now let me make it practical. Use this 3-step practice at the end of your day. 1 moment, 1 lesson, 1 upgrade, 1 moment. Recall one scene that irritated you. Not a big trauma, a small friction, 1 lesson. Ask, what did this moment give me a chance to practice? Patience, restraint, humility, boundaries? 1 upgrade. Choose 1 line you will carry into tomorrow. Next time I will breathe first. Next time I will slow my tone. Next time I will not explain myself to noise. That's gratitude, not the event, the training hidden inside it. Write it down, even 1 sentence, because writing makes it real. Most people live reacting. The Stoic lives refining. He doesn't chase comfort. He trains for clarity, and when pain arrives, he doesn't panic. He gets curious. He refuses to leave any situation without gaining something, not because he's cold, because he's committed to his own growth. And here's a deeper example. Imagine your coworker takes credit for your effort. You feel the heat. Your ego wants an immediate fight, a public correction, a sharp remark. But the Stoic pauses. He names it. This is anger. This is pride. Then he reframes. This is training. Training in restraint. Training in timing. Training in strategic response. He chooses action, but not impulse. He gathers facts. He speaks privately. He sets a boundary with calm clarity. And later, when the moment passes, he can say something honest. That situation revealed what still triggers me, and it trained me to respond with control. That's real resilience. Not pretending it was fine, but refusing to let it make you smaller. Gratitude in discomfort is not fake positivity. It's emotional independence. It's the ability to stay centered even when life is not. Use time perspective to shrink problems. A small fire feels enormous when your face is too close to the flame. But take one step back and it's just a flicker. That's what time does to problems. It shrinks them. Not by changing the event, by changing your view. What feels unbearable today often becomes insignificant when seen from distance. But most people never step back. They keep their face pressed against the flame. Every irritation, every insult, every delay, and they burn in moments that could have passed. Time perspective is the Stoic scalpel. It cuts through the illusion that now is all that matters. It teaches you to ask better questions. Not how do I win this moment, but how long will this matter? Will it matter in 30 days? Will it matter in 1 year? Will it matter in 3 years? That single check removes weight from most problems because most things that shake you are not permanent. They're passing, a canceled plan, a sarcastic comment, a missed opportunity. Your mind makes it bigger when you stand too close. You build stories. You rehearse responses. You fuel resentment with imagination. And imagination is where suffering multiplies. Seneca reminded us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Time perspective is how you break that spell. You pause not to deny the moment, but to zoom out. And zooming out drains poison, not by force, by framing. Here's the tool. I call it zoom out twice. First zoom, ask, will this matter in 30 days? If the answer is no, your reaction is too big. Second zoom, ask, what will my future self say about this? Not your future mood, your future mind. The version of you 3 years older, calmer, wiser, less impressed by drama. What would he advise? Usually something like this. Let it pass. Respond with clarity, not heat. Protect your energy. Move forward. Now you have guidance that isn't trapped inside the emotion. And if the answer is yes, if it truly matters, then it's worth attention. But attention doesn't require panic. It requires strategy. This is where most men confuse urgency with importance. They treat everything as critical. Every argument feels final. Every mistake feels fatal. But urgency lies, and the Stoic knows it. He doesn't rush to fight battles that time would dissolve on its own. He conserves energy. He knows which pain to engage with and which pain to outlast. That's not apathy. That's discipline. Imagine standing in a storm, rain pounding, wind howling. You're soaked, shivering. If you believe it's forever, you panic. But if you know it passes in 5 minutes, you hold your ground. Same storm, different suffering. Perspective changes everything. So the next time something upsets you, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, how long will this matter? Then answer honestly, most of the time shorter than your reaction. That's the signal. Release it. Releasing isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Feel the emotion, but don't build your identity around it. Let time carry it away while you remain grounded. You don't owe every discomfort a response. You don't need to explain your calm to people addicted to urgency. You only need to protect your mind from unnecessary wars. Back up, breathe, zoom out. In a few years, most of today's stress won't even be a footnote. So stop letting passing clouds block your light. Let perspective return your peace. And walk through today anchored in distance, not noise. That's how you rise, quietly unshaken. Every person wants strength, not the loud kind that seeks attention, the quiet kind that cannot be shaken. What you've heard isn't theory, it's practice. It's the discipline of emotional control. The ability to pause, to see clearly, to choose deliberately, to protect your peace as if your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. When you learn to master your reactions, lower your expectations, practice indifference to provocation, treat challenges as character tests, observe emotions without obeying them, bind gratitude to discomfort, and use time to widen perspective, you shift. You stop being pulled in every direction by noise, people, and circumstance. You start living with clarity. The Stoics were not saints. They struggled like you do, but they trained daily, through reflection, through stillness, through deliberate response, and you could do the same. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. You need presence. You need practice, because inner peace is not found. It's built habit by habit, choice by choice. So start small. Next time someone is rude, slow your response. Next time plans break, refuse the complaint. Next time discomfort shows up, treat it like training. And over time, the world stays loud. But you don't. If this helped you, stay with Stoic Ocean. Subscribe for more training to master your mind, and leave one comment. What principle do you need most this week? Not for me, for you, to make it real. Until next time, stay steady, stay disciplined, stay unshakable. Calm is not a mood. Calm is a practice. Calm is not a practice. It's a way of standing inside yourself. It's what remains when the noise fades, because life doesn't slow down just because you trained. People will still test you. Circumstances will still shift. Disappointment will still arrive without warning. The difference is this: it no longer owns you. You begin to notice how rarely chaos comes from the world itself. Most chaos is internal. It's the argument you replay at night, the reply you wish you had said, the expectation you never questioned, the fear you never named. And when you begin to see that clearly, you stop blaming life for what your mind has been doing on its own. This is where Stoicism becomes less philosophy and more hygiene, mental hygiene. Just like you wash your hands without thinking, you begin to clean your inner reactions before they spread. You don't wait until anger explodes. You notice the spark. You don't wait until resentment hardens. You see the first tension. You don't wait until anxiety takes over. You catch the early signal. This awareness changes how you live. You become harder to manipulate, harder to bait, harder to rush. Not because you resist harder, but because you no longer move automatically. And that alone puts you ahead of most people. Most people live one reaction at a time, one mood swing away from losing clarity, one comment away from losing composure, one delay away from frustration. But the Stoic does something different. He slows down internally even when life speeds up. He creates space where others collapse. He breathes where others rush. He observes where others attack. And slowly this becomes who he is. Not a technique, an identity. You start to feel it in ordinary moments. Someone disagrees with you and you don't tense. Plans fall apart and you don't panic. Criticism lands and you don't flinch. Not because you don't care, but because you care about the right things, your integrity, your clarity, your direction. You stop spending emotional energy on things that do not build you. You stop donating attention to people who thrive on reaction. You stop arguing with reality. And that saves an enormous amount of strength. Strength that used to be wasted on internal conflict. Now it becomes available for focus, for growth, for presence. This is the quiet reward of emotional mastery. Life doesn't become perfect, but it becomes manageable. You don't need to control everything around you. You only need to govern what happens inside. And that is always possible, even in pressure, even in loss, even in moments you didn't choose. Because control was never about events. It was always about response. The Stoics understood this long before psychology put a name on it. They trained their minds the way warriors train their bodies. Daily, deliberately, without drama, not to become unfeeling, but to become unshakable. And this is important. Being unshakable does not mean being rigid. It means being rooted, flexible on the surface, stable at the core. You bend, but you don't break. You adapt, but you don't lose yourself. That balance is rare, and it's built in moments like these. Quiet moments, when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when the only witness is your own conscience. That's where the work happens. Not in speeches, not in posts, not in declarations, but in decisions. Small ones, invisible ones. Choosing silence over impulse. Choosing patience over reaction. Choosing clarity over comfort. Again and again and again. Until one day you realize something subtle. Life still throws the same challenges, but they no longer land the same way. What once shook you now barely moves you. What once consumed hours now passes in minutes. What once defined your mood now registers as information. And that is freedom. Not freedom from pain. Freedom from being ruled by it. This is the level where Stoicism stops being something you study and becomes something you live. Not perfectly, but consistently. And consistency is what changes a life. The man who remains calm in the storm. The man who protects his peace no matter what. The man who refuses to rent his mind to someone else's chaos. That man is not a fantasy. That man is built, quietly, daily, on ordinary days when no one applauds. That man is built in seconds, in the pause before the reply, in the breath before the argument, in the moment your ego wants to prove, and you choose to stay clean instead. That man doesn't become unshakable because life gets easier. He becomes unshakable because his responses become disciplined, because he learns a simple truth. The world will stay loud. People will stay unpredictable. Plans will still break. Storms will still come. But he stays intact, not numb, not cold, not detached from life, just rooted, able to feel deeply without being dragged, able to care without collapsing, able to stand in the middle of pressure and keep his center. That's the man you're becoming. Not by wishing, by training. And training doesn't require perfection, it requires repetition. So let's make this real. Don't leave this video as inspiration, leave it as instruction. Take one practice into the next 24 hours, just one. Pick one trigger that usually steals you. a tone of disrespect, a silent dismissal, a delay that irritates you, a comment that hooks your pride. Choose it in advance, because preparation is protection. Then make an agreement with yourself. When it happens, I will not react first. I will breathe first. I will pause long enough to remember who I am. And if my response won't improve the situation, I will let it die without feeding it. That is strength, not the loud kind, not the dramatic kind, the silent kind that keeps you free. Because freedom is not getting what you want. Freedom is keeping control when you don't. And now you have the tools. You learned how to pause and widen the gap. How to lower expectations without becoming cold. How to meet provocation without absorbing it. How to treat difficulty as training, not as punishment. How to observe emotions without obeying them. How to find gratitude inside discomfort without pretending it's pleasant. How to use time to shrink problems back to their real size. None of these are theories, they are decisions. And every decision leaves a mark. It either builds your inner citadel or it cracks it. So choose carefully, but choose consistently, because consistency creates identity, and identity creates peace. Now here's a line to carry with you. You are allowed to feel. You are not required to follow. Say it again. You are allowed to feel. You are not required to follow. That is the difference between a reactive life and a deliberate one. Between being moved and being grounded. Between chaos and command. If you want to seal this into your mind, do this small thing. Write one sentence in the comments. Just one. What is the main trigger you're training on right now? And what will your new response be? Not for me, for you. Because when you name it, it becomes real. And if you want more training like this, more practical Stoic discipline you can apply immediately, subscribe to Stoic Ocean. Not for entertainment, for sharpening. Because a calm mind isn't something you stumble into. It's something you build. And you build it the same way you build anything strong. One repetition at a time. One breath at a time. One moment where you choose response over reaction. So protect your peace, not with anger, not with walls of fear, with clarity, with discipline, with a steady center. And when life tests you, as it always will, remember this. Storms don't prove weakness. Storms reveal training. Let the world be loud. Let people be unpredictable. You stay steady. You stay clear. You move only when it's time. Stay calm. Stay disciplined. Stay unshakable.